Welcome back. Well, let's, of course, get you an update on the policy front. Today, of course, is going to be an important day because the cabinet is in all likelihood, it's likely to take up the textile PLI scheme. So we might actually get more details. Remember, the RoDTEP rates were already announced. Some of the items like garments are covered, but we'll see what the textile PLI scheme has to say for the sector. Separately, this is an exclusive that our colleague Anshu is picking up, and this is about the auto PLI scheme. And she's picking up that the outlay for the much-awaited auto PLI scheme is likely to be slashed by more than half to just 26,000 crore rupees. Sources are telling us that the modified scheme will be taken up by the cabinet on the 15th of September. Anshu, fill us in on all the details.
That's right. The production-linked incentive scheme for auto and component announced by the government in November 2020 was for 57,000 crore rupees. But we understand from sources that the revised incentive payout is likely to be around 26,000 crore rupees. Now, sources have also indicated that the outlay could be increased further depending on the response to the scheme. We have learned that incentive slabs for both original equipment manufacturers and auto component manufacturers, as well as the new non-automotive investors, will be in the range of 8 to 10% on determined sales value. Let me also explain, a new automotive investor will be the one who is not currently in the OEM or component business, but intends to invest in the sector. For both OEMs and component manufacturers, there will be an additional incentive of 2% on sales value of over 10,000 crore rupees for 5 years period for OEMs, and similarly additional 2% incentive will be there for auto component manufacturers for sales over 1,250 crore rupees over 5 years period. Not just that, an additional incentive of 5% will be given to both manufacturers of OEMs and auto components for battery electric and hydrogen fuel cell based component and vehicle manufacturing. The base year for calculation will be FY20, and the eligibility criteria will be dependent on front loading of investments to avail the incentives. Now, once approved, the government may look at inviting applications starting November this year. Beneficiaries under the scheme will be limited to 10 OEMs, 50 auto component makers, and 5 non-new automotive investors. Back to you.
All right. Thanks very much. So Anshu is giving us updates on the auto PLI scheme. But of course, today's attention is going to be squarely on the telecom space and whether the Union Cabinet has some announcements in store on that. Well, the expectation is that there could be a relief considered for the telecom sector, not for companies, but the sector as a whole. Could be a make or break moment for Vodafone India. Let's go across to our colleague Ashmit to get some details on this. Ashmit, hopes are high, AGR relief, maybe spectrum payment relief. But you tell us, Cabinet is about at 12 noon today, right?
Indeed, the cabinet is likely to take up the issue of granting relief to the telecom sector. This has been a long time coming for various months. The last few months, we've seen the telecom sector put out appeals that to continue with the health, to improve the health of the sector, it's important to get some form of government aid, government assistance. And we understand a few measures are under consideration before the cabinet today. Number one, well, what sources tell us is that the reliefs that will be structured will not be done specific to a certain company, will not be customized to a specific company, but will be across the sector. But in terms of what are the reliefs on offer, well, number one, there is likely to be rationalization of levies such as the SUC that are imposed on the telcos. That is likely to be lowered. What sources indicate is that it could be in the band of about 2%. That's what we're likely to see. That's what we're likely to is likely to be under consideration. The other is with respect to the spectrum holding. This is one of the issues that was raised by the telcos time and time again, that perhaps as a form of relief, the spectrum holding period should be extended beyond 20 years. That is also likely to be under consideration. Another relief that may be on offer that is likely to be considered is a moratorium on spectrum dues. Keep in mind that FY21, FY22, there is already a 2-year moratorium that has been granted to telcos for deferred spectrum payments. That is the relief that is likely to be considered is to extend that further. So a whole battery of measures under consideration. The cabinet likely to ponder over them and likely to give clarity by about 2 to 3 p.m. That's when the cabinet briefing is likely to take place. So again, a big day for the telcos. A lot of eyes on the cabinet meeting and what could come out of that and what the implications could be in terms of the health of the telecom sector.
Okay, Ashmit, thanks a lot for that. Yes, that's going to be an important meeting. And let's see. Just pull out the chart of Idea. Of course, as Ashmit said, it's not company specific, it's sector specific, but really the company that needs help is Idea. Now that's yesterday, of course, up 14%. Just pull out perhaps a weekly chart of Vodafone Idea, and it's very interesting. Normally Vodafone Idea is perennially in ban. This is a time in which it's not been in ban, and just look at that move. In the last 7 days, it's up 40%. So the point I'm trying to make here is that the market is perhaps pricing in the relief already. Up a 40% rally has happened on the stock in the last 7 days. So it's pricing in a relief. It will be interesting to see if it actually happens or not, and what kind of relief comes in if it does, because like we've seen in many cases, buy the rumor, sell the news. Could that also play out? Who knows? But for now, I just wanted to put that on board. Let's now go across to Agam for Momentumizers segment. Agam?
Right. Well, I have a real estate company on my radar, and that's Arvind Smart Spaces. Now, it's moved up as much as 12% in the last 2 days. In the last 11 days, it's moved up well over 31%. And if you consider the volumes, there has been a surge. The last 5-day volumes are up as much as 2.8 times its daily monthly average. And similarly, the deliverable volumes are also up as much as 2.5 times the daily monthly average. In fact, at this point in time, considering we've seen a sharp up move in the last couple of days, the supports have also moved up higher. So if you consider the 2-day low, that's at 134.5, considering the stock at this point is quoting at 150 rupees per share, and its 20-day moving average is at 130. Of course, a lot of this traction is to do with the fact that a lot of its larger players are already starting to move, and that's possibly one of those, and that's on account of the prospects of improving demand in the real estate sector. That's also the reason why we have seen a lot of strength in Arvind Smart Spaces of late.
Agam, thanks a lot for that. Nishal Maheshwari is joining us, the CEO of Institutional Equities and Advisory at Centrum Broking. Nishal, good morning. Thanks for joining us. Nishal, I wanted to discuss Reliance with you. What have you made of this recent massive rally in the stock, and what's your view here?
Morning, Anuj. We continue to be positive on Reliance, but we have to be a bit cognizant of the fact, basically, that what kind of capex is the company doing? I was a bit confused and not very positive on this news that Reliance is actually going out and buying something in Netherlands. We have seen historically Bharti doing it and actually paying a price for it. I believe that's not a very good move. India is a huge potential country itself, basically, and historically Reliance has always focused on India. So I believe that this may not be a very good move, actually. So that is my only worry, but otherwise I'm quite positive on Reliance outlook.
Okay, it's interesting. So you're not very positive on this move, but positive on the stock overall. Nishal, hi, good morning. You've had all the life insurers come out with pretty strong data, especially names like SBI Life, where the growth has been solid. From that entire sector, what would your pick of the pack be now? And what is your advice to retail investors?
So I think remain invested. This is another way, basically, where you could have invested into an asset management companies. So this is another way to invest into that sector. But I think the pick of the pack continues to remain as Max Life out there, where it is more reasonably priced. It is one of the more conventional insurance companies, which is low on the market-related ULIPs. So I think that is our pick of the pack. But we continue to like HDFC Life and ICICI Group.
Okay, that's life insurance. Nishal, I just wanted to point out, by the way, I mean, yesterday, I think this was the same asset, Dutch Telecom has sold that T-Mobile Netherlands unit to a clutch of private equity players. So that whole story that was floated around about Reliance being interested, not quite sure. But I think it's the same asset that's been sold off to separate people, to a bunch of private equity players. But anyway, that brings me back to Bharti Airtel, Nishal. Lots happening with this company as well. And now we're talking about this mega rights issue, the possibility of relief. Would you be a buyer at current levels?
Yes, surely, actually. I think somewhere we are headed towards a duopoly. I'm cognizant of the fact basically that today government is looking to announce some relief package to the sector, but I continue to believe that it's going to be a long haul for Voda, and that's why I believe basically that it's going to be sort of a duopoly in some times to come. In that kind of a scenario, definitely we will see some increase in tariffs, more rationalization of tariffs. I'm not saying increase, but more rationalization of tariffs, and possibly Bharati's foray into more digital activities. So I think the war chest which it is building through this rights issue, I'm very sure it has got something up its sleeve basically where it is looking to invest. And I think the way forward for them is actually to move from telephony to more digital platform, because they also have the same kind of reach as Jio has. So I think more and more companies are shifting towards it, and I think Bharti is also going that way. So I continue to remain positive on Bharti. So the whole space, I'm positive on telecom. Basically, if you look at it, Reliance and Bharti, both of them.
Nishil, one of the stocks of the week, of the month, and of the year has been IRCTC. I mean, yesterday also up 9% on top of previous day's 10% rally. Any thoughts here on what really is happening?
Anuj, unfortunately, we do not cover it, so I have not done much detailed work on that basically. So I would refrain to comment, though stock has really done well.
Yeah.
But we have missed it totally.
Okay, yeah, a lot of people have missed it, Nishil, so I don't blame you for that. What about some of these housing finance stocks? Canfin Homes in particular has had a big rally yesterday. HDFC was up. Any stock that you like in this space?
So we like the whole space. Besides the banking, large caps, this is the other space basically in the asset owners, which we like. And this is on the back of people expecting a good numbers coming in basically from the real estate space. So there has been record registrations again in month of August, and I think that's what triggered the housing finance companies' stocks yesterday. And we like the whole space. Canfin obviously remains our top pick out there, but we also like LIC out there because it's one of the cheapest stocks in the sector, and it is focused more on the salaried class. So it is available at one-time book. So I think that's another stock one can look at.
Okay, well, Nishil, stay on. We'll have more questions for you. But right now, just a quick corporate call.